What's up, guys? Just had a great workout. Gonna go get a smoothie. Loving life. Doing the deal. I hope you are too. Making a left-hand turn. We got some very slow-moving people here. All right, let's get into it. I want to talk to you guys about faith. All right, and we all know, I hope we all know, that faith without works is what, guys? It's dead. So we want to have a living faith. That means we have to work. We got to do work. We got to put in work. What kind of work? Well, righteous work, moral work, work that is in alignment with God's will. But what's God's will? And how do we know what that is? Well, that's a more complicated subject, and I would suggest that you get into the scriptures for answers on that. But I want to talk a little bit more about what I am more qualified to speak on, which is my personal experience with this and my own unique perspective on this. Okay, you guys? So here's why faith is important. And like I prefaced, without works, it's dead. So here's how living faith is important. Why is it necessary? Okay, so it so turns out that the deepest truths about the universe, about reality, happen to be paradoxical in nature, at least as it appears to the mind. And the mind, the human mind, comes with limitations. And that is exhibited in physical form, actually, because you know your brain sits inside of a skull and it has two hemispheres, which is funny because we also speak of the earth as having hemispheres. Interesting, isn't that? So the brain, similar, but the brain is inside of a dome. Isn't that interesting? Call this your dome. And the brain sits in there, these two hemispheres, and it's inside of your skull. So even on a physical, tangible, literal level, there are these physical limitations that the brain has. Now those extend into the mental realm. We have mental limitations. There's certain things that the mind can't fully grasp. The human mind cannot fully grasp certain things. And therein lies the need for faith, right? That's where faith comes into the picture. Because just because you can't understand something, just because the mind can't grasp something fully, does not mean that it isn't real. In fact, the things that are unseen and that the mind has a very difficult time understanding, making logical sense of, those things are often the most real aspects of reality. Okay? So, therein lies the need for us to have faith. Because we understand, we understand, we overstand that there are certain things that are beyond the mind. Right? That's really what it comes down to, you guys. So, for a second, God, the sky is kind of creepy today. I'm not gonna focus on that. All right. Whew, man, that distracted me. They're doing their stuff in the sky, if you know what I'm saying, you guys. You don't like to see that. Anyways, back to the mind and faith. So, there's an ongoing debate. Y'all have heard about it, flat versus round. We got a guy in the town I live in that drives a truck around that says NASA's a hoax, all this shit. I'm not going to get into specifics because I want to keep my channel. I don't want to get banned. All right? But we're all aware of this debate that's going on. Now, I'm somebody that refuses to engage in that debate. I used to, but I won't anymore. Why? Because I see a divide and conquer tactic at play. It's this dualistic thing. Red team, blue team, flat team, round team. You see how this works? And fact of the matter is, if you do enough investigation, you'll find some validity to both sides of the argument. All right? So I'm on neither side of this argument. I don't think either side really has the full picture. And I don't have the full picture either. I'd be lying if I said I did. God has the full picture, right? And herein lies more faith. Because there are certain things that my mind can't wrap itself around, like the true nature of this realm that we're in. All right? So one thing that I would agree with one side of this debate on is that we've been lied to a lot and are continuing to be lied to. All right? Now I can agree with the counter argument with, there's a lot of logical fallacies and holes in some of the arguments that the other people make. So this is part of why I just avoid the whole thing, because it's a waste of energy, right? The real truth is paradoxical in nature and beyond the mind, all right? And so to get too hung up on these things, yeah, it's fascinating, it's interesting, I get it. But to get too hung up on things like this is kind of a distraction from our real purpose, right? This is too much looking without and not enough looking within, okay? So really here, the most important thing that we can do in our lives is look within. We got to start here with the very closest thing to us, all right? And it turns out, and this is another paradox, right? That this God that we kind of perceive as being like so far beyond us is actually the closest thing to us. It's within us already. Yet it is also at the same time far beyond the mental bandwidth. I mean, think it's like God the Father is like, to make a computer analogy, it's a file that is way too big for anybody's mental bandwidth to download. Nobody can handle that, all right? Nobody can handle that. And this is why, Jesus, this is my beliefs of, this is what I see in the scripture. Part of the reason God sent Jesus here was because God overstands that our minds aren't really capable of grasping him. But beyond the mind, we can come to know and realize him. But we're going to need some help, because that file, like I said, is too big for anybody's head. But when God made his son in his image, God in the flesh, as Christ, well, that makes it so it's more approachable. That makes God more approachable. And God was merciful enough to experience what we experience as humans, to come into the flesh and suffer more than any other human ever suffered before. So, pretty amazing, right? All stuff that I can't claim to understand fully. Hence faith. So let's not get too hung up in here. The hemispheres, the duality, the left and right, the debates, red team, blue team, flat team, round team, etc. Let's not get hung up on that, you guys. Let's stay in the middle, right? Let's stay in our zone, right here. By the way, it's kind of what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want to get into detail, but, some of this stuff isn't natural, if you catch my drift. But it's all good. It's all good, because we know, as people of faith, we know we're being protected, all right? No weapon shall prosper when you wear the full armor of God, and that takes walking in obedience, work, sacrifice. There's no wiggle room. There's no shortcuts. No shortcuts. The path is straight. The path is narrow. The path to the Most High. You want to take the other path, you want to go down in the pits. Oh, that's easy. Just do what everybody else is doing. Just follow the crowd. That's all you got to do. But don't do that. Don't you do that. I know you're better than that. You know you're better than that. Come on now. Let's go. Love y'all. Peace.